From world-class ballers to absolute flops. Falling from the very top is the most painful, that's for sure. Rashford, you should know that the best, buddy. And in today's video, we'll be exploring 7 of the most memorable stories of players who have done just that. Players, some of whom could even be considered all-time greats. Stay tuned. Well, Samuel Umtiti could hardly be included in this group of players, but listen, the man was a beast of a centre-back with the potential to become a pillar of the Barcelona defence for years to come. When he arrived in 2016, he quickly established himself as a starter alongside Gerard Piqué. La Liga titles, Copa del Rey trophies, solid performances in the Champions League. Umtiti had become amazing. Around that same time, he also became a pillar of the French national team, partnering Raphael Varane at the 2018 World Cup. The highlight of Umtiti's career? Definitely that header against Belgium in the semi-finals and the dancing celebration that every passionate Frenchman remembers vividly. That goal qualified France for the final, but his participation in the tournament shouldn't have been a reality, as he suffered a serious knee injury just before the tournament, one that required rest and surgery. But in the ultimate sacrifice for his country, he opted for a conservative treatment and chose to play through the pain and risk his long-term career. France lifted the trophy, but Umtiti paid the price. From the start of the 2018-19 season, Umtiti didn't play any quality football until March, and his knee problems were constant between September and February. Despite this, Barcelona rewarded him with a new contract, but it marked the start of his dramatic decline, as he made just 50 appearances for the club before leaving in 2023. Yes, it's not the classic case of money ruined the player, but the contract extension, together with his sacrifice, really did prevent us from witnessing a defensive monster in the making. Another player I'm really angry we never saw his true potential of is Dele Alli. From that iconic volley against Crystal Palace, to his partnership with Kane, Eriksen and Son, this was Spurs at their best. He burst onto the scene at just 19 during the 2015-16 season when he scored 10 goals and assisted 11 in all competitions. After that, a significant rise, 31 and 29 contributions respectively in the next 2 seasons. And when you have a player with such explosiveness and desire to succeed, you just can't fail to reward him with the big money. In October 2018, Dele Alli's wages literally increased by 100%, from £75,000 to £150,000 per month. The boy had been spectacular up to that point, but after that, I'm sure not a single Spurs fan wants to remember what happened next. A sudden decline, an over-reliance on his abilities. Of course, injuries played a part, but not as much as Umtiti's case. Dele Alli simply lost momentum out of nowhere the moment he signed that multi-million-pound contract. His numbers remained solid, 15 involvements in his next 2 seasons, but the real decline began in 2020, when he never even reached 20% of his peak form. Then, after a couple of attempts to revive his career at Everton and Besiktas, he's reportedly a free agent, having failed to make a single appearance in the last 2 years. On the other hand, one player who would hope not to repeat his fate is Marcus Rashford. He is certainly a good example of money ruining a career. Or, okay, maybe that's an exaggeration, but with all the drama and controversy he's going through at the moment, I really think Rashford's career could go the wrong way from here. I mean, the formula's there. 1 world-class season, score in a final, finished 2022-23 as a top 5 player in the league, confidence through the roof, signing a massive contract, and then it all goes downhill. Yes, after putting his signature to a £325,000 deal in August 2023, Rashford scored 11 league goals in a year and a half. To put that into perspective, he scored that many in 2 months in between January and February 2023. And if you add in his confrontations with Amorim and the board, I really pray for Rashi to show a strong mentality and get out of the mud as soon as possible. For the next 2 examples, we've prepared 2 of the best players of the last generation, both of whom experienced their downfall at Arsenal. By the way, if you've enjoyed this so far, don't forget to subscribe for more of the same in the future. The obvious gunner is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He arrived at Arsenal in the winter of 2017 after a stellar spell at Borussia Dortmund, where he became a legend, scoring 90 goals in his last 2.5 seasons. The Gabon international arrived with big ambitions, and he delivered massively for Arsenal, becoming one of the best forwards in the league, finishing 1st and 2nd in the goal-scoring charts in successive seasons. He was particularly influential in the 2019-20 season, scoring both goals in a 2-1 win over Chelsea in the FA Cup final. Seeing the huge impact Aubameyang was having on the team, the board offered him a new improved contract in the summer of 2020. 3-year deal, reportedly taking his weekly wages to a staggering £250,000. But, as fate would have it, Aubameyang's form took a dramatic nosedive. The striker who would terrorise defences with his pace, his clinical finishing, and relentless work rate was unrecognisable. He struggled to find the back of the net for months, scoring just 10 Premier League goals in 2020 to 21, mostly in the second half of the campaign. The start of the next season brought a new problem for him. His relationship with Mikel Arteta dramatically broke down, leading to him being shipped out to Barcelona on a free transfer. His situation at the Camp Nou improved considerably during that half season, but he never rediscovered his best form and is currently playing in Saudi Arabia. The player with whom Aubameyang had the closest relationship on the pitch, however, was Mesut Özil. He's probably remembered more fondly by Arsenal fans, but he also had his downside after his contract extension. In January 2018, Mesut Özil became Arsenal's highest paid player ever when he signed a contract extension worth a staggering £350,000 a week. At the time, it seemed a fair reward for a player whose creative genius has lit up the Emirates since his arrival in 2013. Indeed, the German is one of the Premier League's all-time greats in terms of playmaking, with fans putting him on the same sentence as Kevin De Bruyne and Steven Gerrard. But the ink was barely dry on the deal before the cracks began to show. His performances became increasingly inconsistent, and questions began to be asked about his work ethic and suitability for modern high-pressing systems. Injuries have since sidelined him on a number of occasions, but even when fit, Özil has struggled to replicate the brilliance he once displayed. After his third best season in red in 2017-18 in terms of assists, he never provided more than 3 goal-scoring passes in a single campaign. By the time Unai Emery arrived as manager in 2018, Özil was already falling out of favour, but the situation worsened under Arteta, who froze him out of the squad completely by 2020. Next, undoubtedly the biggest legend on this list so far, Sergio Busquets. You can say whatever you want, but after his renewal in 2018, Busquets' career took an unexpected fall. Yes, sure, it wasn't as abrupt as some of the other players we've mentioned, but from 2018 and until his departure in 2023, Busquets had more negative than positive moments at the Camp Nou. His extension came in September 2018 when he secured a significant pay rise to €250,000 per week. Realistically, Busquets had never had a period in his career where he was criminally out of favour. Even after a slight decline in the last 5 years of his glittering Barcelona career, he was still a fundamental part of the team, but the shift in style of play and the general change in the pace of football affected his game. Firstly, he's never been quick, that's for sure. Busquets had always been the maestro in the middle of the park, the anchor of the team, and that is evident now that Barca are struggling without a direct replacement of his. So yeah, he's certainly not an example of a player who got the big money and started playing worse, no. But still, it's a fact that these two moments have coincided and Busquets never managed to regain the same form he had between, let's say, 2010 and 2015. Yes, he had some glimpses of his old self, but the veteran became a scapegoat for Barca's failings, particularly during their embarrassing Champions League collapses against Roma, Liverpool and Bayern Munich. And last but not least, David De Gea. Of course, when we talk about spending millions, especially in the last 10 years or so, Man United is usually the first name that comes to mind. At a time when De Gea was one of the best goalkeepers in the world, he signed a new contract in 2019 that would have seen him earn a staggering £375,000 a month. Something we'd never seen before when talking about goalies. At the time, it looked like a fair investment, but in retrospect, it's one of many examples of the Red Devils overspending. In the months, and apparently years following the extension, De Gea, once known as the ultra-reliable last line of defence, began to make uncharacteristic errors, with high-profile blunders creeping into his game. The errors were compounded by United's struggles to regain dominance, with critics pointing to his mammoth wages as a drain on the club's finances. While there were flashes of his old brilliance, most notably in the 2022-23 season when he won the Premier League Golden Glove, De Gea's limitations with the ball at his feet and his inconsistency in big games eventually led to his departure in the summer of 2023 when he was replaced by Andre Onana. As we said in the Busquets section, De Gea could also be seen as a victim of the changing dynamics of the game. In the prime years of his career, United never had to field a goalkeeper whose main quality was footwork. After his first season under Erik ten Hag, however, that need became paramount to the team's future and led to his departure. Now, a quick question for you. Can you think of an even more vivid example of a player who flopped after a contract extension? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this one, you'll surely like our episode on the 10 events that ruined Man United, so jump straight in. But before that, don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.